if you got a target buck you're going to hunt, you only go in there, limit the pressure going in, don't go in all the time, only go in on the right wind. And if you go in and see him and don't get to kill him, you might as well wait till the next perfect time. Don't go right back. Hey, welcome back to the Buck Junkie Podcast. We're back down here at camp again, and we are getting closer, gentlemen.
Ain't far off.
Ain't far at all. We got Jamie. We got somebody in Jamie's seat today. He had to go to a funeral, so
Yeah, we got a special guest.
yeah, a special guest. We got our man Will with us. Football aficionado, helps out here at the camp. Probably can't wait to shoot a deer, can you, Will?
Nope.
But no, what's going on this week, guys? Y'all, youth season's open in Mississippi now.
You season opened in Mississippi. I think it opened in a couple of different states this weekend.
Yeah, I know.
Not just here,
I
but
think
ours
regular
did.
Arkansas open. I started for the Let's Get It on the Ground segment or
Yeah.
whatever. I got a couple guys over in Arkansas who killed some good deer. We'll talk about. But more importantly, we got a winner for our Mystery Ranch backpack giveaway. It's a Mossy Oak Mystery Ranch full-blown pack. This ain't like no Walmart edition. This is a fancy backpack.
It's even got a hat and a koozie that comes
Hat
with
and a
it.
koozie. So we had a bunch of great entries, and me and you looked through some of them this morning. Some pretty good deer on camp. People's got on camera. Some I saw 2 bucks that man, I can't remember the guy's name. He went to Maryland and killed them. Those bucks look really good.
Yeah.
But we had to narrow it down to one. I thought the hog eating out of a feeder was pretty good.
Yeah. I like the guy that what was the 2014 Escort?
That was a Honda Accord, wasn't it?
Honda Accord.
He got his first deer of the year. Meat on the ground.
That's just a buck laying on the highway.
Yeah. But the one that really caught my attention, I don't know how y'all felt. What y'all think was the one that caught your attention was a cool pick?
Man, there was a bunch of good bucks on there. The guy that had a couple bow kills out of Maryland or Maine?
It was
somewhere
Maryland,
up north,
yeah.
man. That was a good looking deer.
Yeah, yeah.
But everybody's got good bucks. But it ain't but it's a special item on that list in that comments that kind of stood out to me.
Well, was it what I'm thinking?
Probably the same thing you think.
Piebalds?
Yes.
Yeah, that's who I think we got to give it to, Mikey.
Yeah. So
Did you know that you knew a few people that had posted
I know a
stuff,
few
right?
people that
So you
posted,
kind of
so-
took yourself out of the picking.
yeah.
But I think we kind of looked at it unanimously and thought those were unique.
I mean, they're just so rare now. Which, I mean, I guess they've always been rare.
It got me to thinking, would y'all shoot those deer? Like, are you going to kill a piebald deer? We've never had any on camera here that I know. It's just a mutation that we don't have in our deer.
I've only seen one my entire time hunting, and it wasn't even hunting. It was at the house.
Did y'all say over there?
Yeah,
Wow.
it was like these right here. It was a fawn.
Yeah.
And or it was a younger deer, and it was staying with its mom, and there was another fawn with it that was just normal. So I guess they were twins, and this one had it wasn't quite as much white as these have on it, but it was the whole bottom half of it was white, and it had a white ring around it, and part of its face was white. But it stayed around the house all year long, and I never seen that deer ever again.
So it got me to thinking, like, those deer, I mean, they're rare in nature anyway, but does it mark them for predation worse than regular? Like, I mean, because,
Yeah, probably so. I mean,
I would think so. Like, your predators, your coyotes are going to be able to see them better. Anything that's after them is going to be able to get them.
yeah, because I mean, you could see that deer when it bedded down. It bedded in a thicket kind of close to the house,
And it just
you
stood
couldn't
out?
see the other deer at all. And I could pull up in the driveway in the evening times and look out in the thicket looking for them, and I could find it just by that white on it. Could see a little bit of white in the woods and knew that was that deer laying over in the woods.
Yeah. Well, so the only place I've seen them in the wild has been over in the Oxford area. We hunted, it's pretty close to where y'all were hunting in Abbeville. Did y'all ever see any over there on government land?
I never seen it.
There was true albino deer over there. One of the guys in our club had got one. We didn't kill it. The reason why I never shot him is the old man that hunted with us over there. You know how they always got their superstitions or whatever. And he told us that if you see a true white one, he says is like an Indian chief is what people believe. Like reincarnated or whatever. If it's solid white, big, that's the chief. But the piebalds, they believe they were braves or something like that. There was always this thing. So it was bad luck. They told me if you kill one of the solid, like true albino, it's curse of 1,000 lifetimes is what they say.
Curse of 1,000 lifetimes.
Curse of 1,000 lifetimes.
There was one behind the check-in station on Highway 30.
That's where we were off Highway 30 over there. Is that close to
Somebody at camp had seen one.
Puskus
over
Creek?
in that area.
Is that,
I mean, that's
isn't it Puskus Lake? Puskus Lake. That's
Puskus
over there?
Lake, but check-in
We were
wasn't
across
at
the
Puskus,
road.
yeah.
We were across 30, and the check-in I think was on up from us a little
Yeah.
bit, not far. We were right on the edge of that government land.
because we always hunted across from the check-in on 30.
Yeah.
And then I want to say there was a access road or a gravel road directly across from where we hunted that went up behind check-in. And supposedly, I can't remember if it was Billy Moore or Jimmy or who seen the white deer.
Y'all were hunting right in there where we had a lease, man. We had like 300 acres right in there, right past that last house before you get to the check-in station.
Almost certain between Jimmy and Billy, one of them probably trespassed on y'all.
We had some people come in off government land. It's a long way through there, though.
If you seen a guy smoking a cigarette with some old greasy gray hair, that was Jimmy.
Stacking them up.
Yeah.
With a pink.
With a pink orange vest.
So what was that guy's name? Was it Ethan Hall?
Ethan Hall.
So that's going to be the winner of our Mystery Ranch giveaway. And Ethan, we're going to reach out to you. But if you want to speed the process up, go ahead and direct message Mikey or somebody, Tyler. We got to get his mailing address because we're going to get that out to him this week. But we appreciate all the entries, and we're going to be doing. I got to come up with another one.
Yeah, because that's a tough contest. Man, there's a lot of good picks, and I like going through and seeing everybody's deer and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that was a tough one to go through. There was a lot of unique ones in there, and there's a lot of good deer in there.
Well, we didn't ask you to post where it came from.
No,
we don't want to know your honey hole spot. We just want to, let everybody get everybody pumped up for deer season because that's what I'm getting ready, man. I'm excited. We're starting. Mark showed me a bunch of pics this morning. He finally got a camera out of his own house deer. He's got a Seek 1 over there, man. All kinds of bucks showed up.
It was an eventful night on my address at my road. It was
Well, I've had several people text me and say, "Man, all my does disappeared, but the bucks are on camera now." So they're up moving them around. And Mark and I, after last week's podcast, we ran over and pulled a persimmon tree cam because they're all gone now. And we had just been riding around looking for any kind of sign, and we knew that it's time for scrape to start popping. Well, you spotted a couple on a tree line that we knew around a water hole. And then when we got to look in the edge of the tree line, kind of following the direction, man, there were scrapes everywhere.
there was probably 5 or 6 within 50 yards of each other right there.
Good ones too, fresh. And so we hung a camera on it. We hadn't pulled the card. I've got one of these little Browning cell cams, and it sends you a still pic. It doesn't send you the actual clip, but we've got video clips of them, and there should be 2 or 3 different bucks. Now they're not. I didn't see a big one yet, but there's a decent buck over there working a scrape.
There's probably a 3-year-old there, 2.5.
Yeah,
something
and
like
there's another one that tangled up last night with a little buck. We should have that on the trail cam pic too, or at least got a still of them locked up right there in front of that scrape. And that's right behind my South Trump stand. That's one of my favorite stands to hunt.
It's a good one. That stand's comfortable.
It is, and it's got all that corn out there on it this year, standing up, and then
Standing corn. Make sure you specify
standing corn, and then the green plots. Man, I'm telling y'all what. I'm glad. I was really nervous about our food plots this year because we didn't have no rain, and everybody was in the same boat. But once we got that rain, these plots have popped up and look awesome. But the growth in them, if we would have had them if they'd have been this good 6 weeks ago, they'd have been too tall. They wouldn't have been palatable. Yeah. Now we've got young, tender plots. The deer are hitting them, and I don't know what kind of acorn year we've got. We had a bunch of acorns, and then because we moved cameras and we were catching deer in acorns, but it's kind of thinned out, and they're coming to the plots now.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's just a slow acorn. Maybe it wasn't a bumper crop, but there was a few. But
yeah, there's a good many acres. We did. I did notice that some of our acorn trees hadn't produced much, but there's some of them that are pretty full of acorns right now and dropping. So
the sawtooths weren't nothing this year.
No,
so your early acorns, and then we've got a lot of the little red oak acorns, and the white oaks finally started dropping some, but it ain't raining like it normally does.
No. All right, so it's time for the In the News segment.
What's going on in the news?
So I was looking through a bunch of articles and stuff yesterday, and so there was a man shot opening weekend of Minnesota deer season.
I hate to hear that.
Yeah. So I kind of caught my attention, to kind of read into that one, so I figured we'd talk about that a little bit. But anyways, they found this guy. He'd been shot in the head I don't know if he called. They didn't really elaborate on that. I looked at the sheriff's report and stuff like that. But anyways, they found this guy. He was alive. They did, first aid, got him to the hospital. But they, at the time the article was wrote, they said that his condition was still, kind of unstable a little bit. But
he was alive.
He was alive, yes. But I was thinking about that. Like this, something like that. Somebody had to shoot him.
I mean, unless it was that.
Unless
went off,
accident. They didn't say it was self-inflicted because they would already checked that. So somebody popped him, either walking in or walking out or whatever, and he was found. But
was it on private land or government land?
It was private.
It was private land. Wow.
Yeah. At least that's what it said. So it was on private land. But I was just thinking about that. Like, man, if it wasn't self-inflicted, somebody had to know they fired a shot at him.
You would think. I mean, they ain't just accidentally going off.
Man, so either somebody went and checked, and either that or it was some foul play. Like they wasn't even hunting, and I guess they may have caught him in the woods or something like that. But
he wasn't a stand when he got shot. Was he walking?
It said they just found him on the ground out there or whatever.
I mean, you hear stuff like that happens all the time. That's why hunting is dangerous. And one of the first rules is safety. Always know what's beyond the target you're shooting at.
One of the interesting things I seen while reading this article, it had like a little link you could click on, and it had all of the Minnesota, I guess, firearm accidents for the year.
Yeah.
Over there, they've already had 7. And most of them were just, pheasant hunting or bird hunting. It said bird hunting is what it says, so I assumed it was quail or pheasant or dove or something. But they log all of that in a chart there, and they had 7 of them. So most of them, it wasn't funny, but just the things that they had wrote down, just how dangerous people are and unaware of like gun safety and stuff like that. I mean, like one guy shot himself in the foot crossing a fence or something like that is what it said. And he shot himself. So that means the guy had the gun, off of safety, going under a fence. Like, I don't know. Sometimes that stuff aggravates the hell out of me because you hear these stories and stuff and it's like, what's the purpose of having the gun off of safety, loaded and going under a fence or over a fence or something like that?
There's not. You shouldn't be carrying it either, I don't think. I think you ought to either lay it on the other side of the fence in a safe direction or leave it on the other side of the fence, cross, and get back and get it in a safe direction.
But then there was a bunch of them where people had shot other people. I know all of us have probably been in those scenarios. I know I have. Hell, I've been shot before.
But it's always been around bird hunting or something. Yeah. I haven't fortunately, I hope I never see a rifle accident. And I'm hoping this guy that got shot didn't get shot with a rifle. Surely it was a shotgun. I would think there would be more shotgun accidents than there would high-powered rifles. Yeah, I'm just a guess.
Probably so because, that was what most of those were. It was like rabbits and, things where there's moving targets and maybe dogs involved or something, and just not being aware of your surroundings. And
if you've ever hunted public land ducks, you've probably been shot at. Ever been on a good dove hunt, you've probably been peppered.
Yeah.
That's when I've seen it. But
that's what some of them were. It was like, somebody got a BB to the eye. That got a BB to the eye dove hunting. But, some of them were a little more severe than that. But
was that something y'all worry or think about when you go out?
Every time.
You should.
Every time. When we're getting in the four-wheelers, I don't want to see nobody with no loaded gun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even,
what stand hunting, I don't load my gun when I'm walking into the stand. I wait till I get up in the stand and get set down. And always, I don't want to take a chance. I don't think it's worth, what are you going to stalk in on one? I know there's times you walk into the stand, you jump a deer or something or whatever. But usually we're going in low light. It might not even be shooting hours yet. You're coming out, it's usually dark, so there is no advantage of walking or climbing down with that loaded weapon.
Yeah.
I don't think that's worth it. I don't to walk back and forth with that gun loaded. Definitely don't think you should put it back in the truck. That's against the law. You can't even say in a side by side.
Yeah.
We drive a mile back to the camp or however far it is. You don't need to be riding on the road with that gun loaded. There ain't no reason for it. So I say always unload it. When you sit down, that's when you load your gun.
Yeah, I got a ticket for that one time. The guy that was hunting with me got in the truck and his gun was still loaded. And we got stopped by the game wardens. And damn, if he didn't have 3 shotguns, I mean, he was loaded to the brim. It's like, why did you do that? It didn't. He wasn't thinking. He wasn't an experienced hunter or nothing like that. And I didn't watch him, but you always got to be aware of your surroundings, especially when you hunt with kids and stuff like that. But and not only kids. I mean, some adults ain't got a lot of
absolutely
sense when it comes to guns and stuff like that. I mean, people swing a barrel around in your face real fast.
Well, what do y'all think about? Say you take out from the house and you're not gun drive. You're gonna either jump on an e-bike or walk. Are you loading your gun when you leave, or you wait until you get to the stand?
You asking me?
Yeah.
I ain't gonna load it on a bike for sure because that's sketchy. But
if you're walking, you're loading.
If I'm walking in, like if I know, wherever your surroundings and what's going on, I'll load it walking in. If I'm walking, I mean, no big deal.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, you just got to be mindful.
Always have safety in mind.
Because I mean, you never know, and it's one of the things. Accidents happen in some of the craziest situations. It's never intentional. 99% of the time, there's not a person out there intentionally going to have an accident like that.
No.
But it is. You got the recipe there.
Well, I think a lot of it happens because you've got excitement involved with it. Yeah. If you're walking around, if you're seeing an animal, you don't know how you're going to react because there is an adrenaline level that kicks in. And a lot of these people we don't handle guns all the time. So if you're not used to always being around a loaded firearm and you're just out with one, I mean, that's setting up for something to happen.
Yeah. It is.
When you pick that gun up, you take it out of the case or the gun cabinet or whatever, you need to be thinking safety the whole time.
Yeah, one of the worst things that you can do is, we learned gun safety at an early age with my dad because we rabbit hunted and stuff like that.
What was the first thing they taught you? Like, treat every gun like it's loaded.
Yeah,
no, that was the first thing I ever got taught about a gun. Yeah. Even if it's not, treat it like it's loaded. That means don't look down the barrel. Make sure it's pointed in a safe direction. Always know what's behind you when you're taking a shot. All that stuff goes into treating that gun like it's loaded at all times.
What you think about this is a lot of people don't. If you've hunted enough, you've experienced this. But you've got an old dirty gun or something like that. Like 22 is notorious for it. Especially an automatic or something like that. Like you've shucked all the shells out of it, and you jack the one you think was in there out. And there's always I've ejected mine a couple of times before, and it spit another shell out. It's like, where did that one come from? I've seen shotguns hang a shell in the barrel and not, when you ejected it didn't come out. It was stuck, kind of halfway hung in the barrel. So if it was, you think it's unloaded.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've had 22 do it all the time.
Yeah.
There'd be one in there. It's like, I know I just dropped the clip and shucked it. How'd this one get back in there and in the chamber? And I was trying to put another one in. In fact, this happened just the other day. I was like, man, this thing won't load. It won't load. What's wrong with it? It was kind of, looked down. I said, dang, there's one in it. And it just didn't pull it out. I had to get a little pocket knife,
dig it out
and back it out. It just wouldn't grab it or something on the injector. And I guess because 22s are like that, they foul up easy.
So do you think, I know numbers wise, because there's so many more people hunting with firearms than it is bows or crossbows, but on a percentage basis, do you think there's more people get hurt with firearms hunting or crossbows and bows?
That's a good question.
Like per capita, like not on average. 'Cause I know your average is going to be way higher because there's so many more people hunting with guns. But if you break it down to averages or percentages, I mean, I've heard of some horror stories this year. Guys getting hurt bow hunting.
With bow hunting,
yeah. Like one of Jody's buddies that he met through, can't remember what he said. If it was one of the hunting guides that he met when he would go turkey hunting in Mexico, or some kind of acquaintance he ran into, guy was hunting with a crossbow. And something malfunctioned, and somehow or another the string or something caught his cheek when he fired the crossbow and pulled his eye out and ripped the side of his face off.
Oh, man.
And he lost that eye. And it's just that's freaking nature stuff. It does not have to be a firearm for you to get hurt in the woods.
That's right. I don't know which one causes more accidents. I mean,
you
interesting,
got
but
anything, just being out here working on the farm, or you're not in a location, you're not in the middle of town. We're an hour from a hospital, and something simple as stepping off a piece of equipment like I did, and that could have been way worse than it was.
Yep, absolutely. Falling out of a stand. No, we're going to talk about that after a while, I think. That's dangerous stuff, man.
Yeah, you do something out in the woods, or you get hurt in the woods or something like that. You, like Mark said, I mean, a lot of times you're in a remote area.
Yeah.
Where, if they do it, they're not going to drive the ambulance up to you, so you got to be hauled out. If you ain't got nobody with you, you got to crawl out.
Yeah, that's another thing. Is a lot of times one of us will get down here before the rest of us. You might be here by yourself. We don't like to be that way. We try to always make sure people are down here with each other.
Or somebody knows exactly where you're going to be.
But, I mean, there's been evenings you run down here to go on an evening hunt by yourself, and you never know.
Never know, yeah. Well, that's one thing. Like, you don't have a lot of control of it on your hunting government land. That's when I think I would think more accidents probably happen on government land just because more people and you don't know exactly what the other person's doing all the time.
Yeah.
On private land, I always like to know my neighbors. Let's stay in communication. Hey, where's y'all stands? Or, I might be in here hunting.
Yeah.
At least know safe directions. Like, okay, this is where my stand is, and I'm usually hunting this way. So if y'all are down there, y'all know I could be down here. I think that's always a good thing. And then also to have that contact where you let somebody know, or, hey, I might be down in there. That way somebody knows where they can come get you if they had to send help.
That's somebody the other day was talking on Facebook, says they're in a habit of every time they go hunting, if they're by themselves, they just take a picture wherever, like when they get set up in the stand, and they text it to their wife or their best friend or whoever knows. And I think, was it iPhones now will pin the location where the pictures took?
Yeah, I think it will. Yeah.
So they'll have a picture of what you're looking at, plus it puts that photo.
Geo location.
Well, that ain't a bad idea.
And that way they just know.
Yeah.
I mean, usually, that's when I go hunting or something like that. If I just say I came down here by myself, or down here, I would either tell him or you or Mark or somebody sending the text like, hey, I'm, even if I'm down here working, like, hey, I'm gonna be working in the back field today. We ain't got good cell phone service. I ain't called. I've done that with him.
Yeah, if you ain't heard from me.
Like, you ain't heard from me by noon, tell somebody y'all come down here and check on me.
That's mine and Shell's thing. Like, if I slip off and I'm going to go by myself and nobody else is with me, I'm going to tell her when I get in the stand. I'm going to shoot her text when I get down or whatever. That way she knows I'm okay, and I'll tell her where I'm at. And we use Onyx and Hunt Stand. We mark our stand locations to where if somebody had to find out, you could say, okay, they're down there at South Trump, or they're over there at Crossroads. That's where he should be. That's the last place he told us he was going. We know where to start, Well,
see, usually if I hunt like in the government woods and stuff, this is something that I'll do. Like, y'all don't know where I hunt at in the government woods, but my brother does. So I'll tell him where I'm walking in at and where I'm coming out at, and I'm going to make the loop down beside the old big tree where we used to coon hunt, sit and have fires when we coon hunted, and I'm going to go down this way. And, and I'll usually tell him how I'm going to, what kind of path I'm going to walk, just because, I get back out in there and on a Wednesday morning, everybody's at work, nobody's out there.
Yeah.
And he's the only one that really would
know
how to find track me down.
Yeah.
If something was to happen. But I usually tell my wife, like, I'm going to government woods at the end of this road. Something happens to me, you don't hear from me, call Randy. And it's a good idea for you to lay out a plan like that, especially if you're going out by yourself. Even if you're going out with a kid or something like that, you still need to let somebody know where you're going, because
you never know what could happen.
That's right.
See, we're not even that secluded. You imagine hunting on a 1,000,000-acre plot of land up in Alaska, and there ain't nobody for 50 miles. Like,
you done flew in.
That's what's crazy. That makes me nervous as heck. I ain't gonna lie. Too many barriers out there.
Me and you, when you were younger, we went through that, what is it called? Safety course.
Hunter's education.
Hunter education course. And one of the game wardens, I think it was that one that I took you in.
Talking about the Fritos?
No. Yeah, that was that one.
Where you burn the Fritos? That's a good tip, man.
But they were talking about like stand safety and gun safety and stuff. That's a huge thing. That's like 90% of the test, know, when you take that thing. So one of the game wardens told a story that, this guy went out hunting, and he didn't come back in that evening or whatever. So they had went out looking for him. Well, they found him. He was at the bottom of his stand, standing upright, with the rifle barrel stuck through his chest, and the rifle was holding him up.
Impaled him.
He had fell out of that stand somehow, or slipped out of that stand, and it impaled him. That rifle barrel impaled him. And he was sitting up. They thought he was just standing there.
Yeah.
And they got up there, and he was gone.
Man.
See, that's the thing. It's like 99% of the time it's going to be, as crazy as it sounds, crossing a fence or getting in and out of a stand. You know, and like I understand, like we tried, like our stands are pretty easy to get in and out of, but you never know, man. You get out there in the morning, it's dark, and it's ice on that very top step you don't know's there.
It can happen that easy.
I mean, it don't take much.
No, that's why you need to have a plan.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Well,
hopefully we don't have to worry about that.
And it never hurts to get hunt club insurance for accidents.
Yeah.
That's the thing as a landowner, you know, especially if you're going to have people on your property, or you may not know. People can sue you for anything these days. Somebody can trespass on your land and try to sue you.
Yeah, because, I mean, there's been a lot of folks get sued over somebody getting hurt in a swimming pool now. That's why insurance companies want you to have fences around your swimming pool.
That's the reason we don't have one at deer camp. Too many liabilities.
What else is in the news, Mikey?
That was it about in the news, but we can move on to the on the ground segment.
Yeah,
now.
man, I'm telling you, that's what I'm going to talk about. Let's talk about some of these deer's been took, man. It heated up, didn't it?
It sure did. I know on our website we had Jace Hargrove from Kentucky. He posted one of the kids from his ministry killed his first buck. It was a big 8-point. And he actually put down in the comments, he's got the video of the shot they made on the deer.
Really?
Yeah. You go on down in the comments, there's a video that he showed of him shooting the deer. But it was a really nice 8-point.
That's I met him at the NWTF last year, and super, super good dude. And what they're doing with that ministry is awesome, for sure.
And then Ethan Hall, he posted on our Facebook page, he killed a Sitka blacktail deer in Alaska.
What kind of?
Those don't get real big, do they?
Yeah, I was going to say that's not something
they don't get.
I don't know if I've ever seen. Maybe on the hunting videos, the only place I ever heard of a black.
Yeah, they're almost like those coos deer or whatever they hunt.
Yeah, those are little bitty.
I think there's some similar to that size deer. They're smaller than a whitetail. The horns are, anyways. I know they don't get like great big racks, but his was a pretty nice deer for a blacktail deer, from what I can tell.
Chris Yancey killed a good buck over at Mount Olive.
Man, that was a stud. Yeah, that was a beautiful deer.
He could make some fine homemade wine, and he killed a big buck too.
They always. That's a good little piece of property.
You don't think there's some big deer over there in that part of Arkansas? I mean, they killed some monsters over there. The guy, Matt, our buddy over
Matt
there.
Pittman.
Yeah, he's
not Matt Pittman. What is his last name?
I can't think of his last name, but it's our buddy Matt.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's got a farm over there, and one of his neighbors killed a stud. I think it looked like it was a 170-inch buck.
Matt always gets on him too. Might have to hit him up.
I asked Lawson. He sent me a picture of it. I'm gonna see if I can post it. I hate posting stuff of people's that you don't get permission on. Yeah, he said he was right down the creek from Matt's place, and this dude was a monster. I'm gonna text it to y'all so y'all can see it while we're sitting here talking about it. But this buck, he's a stud anywhere. For being Arkansas hill deer, I guess that is. It's kind of the foothills of some mountains over there.
That's a hill.
Will, I'm gonna text it to you too. Look at this buck, y'all. We need, and if I can get permission, we'll put it on the community page there.
Yeah.
Good night.
That's a man, ain't it? That's the two I had that I've heard of that were good bucks killed, and that's full blown adult season over there. We're still in the use over here.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's a good buck.
It is.
That was in Arkansas?
Yep. Over at Mount Olive.
So we had a couple of local people get their first deer during the youth season. We got J.J. Pigram. His little girl killed a nice little buck opening weekend here in Mississippi. And then Bryce George, I heard now that he killed his first buck. His cousin Ben George took him out. He's about Will's age. Will and him shot in 4-H together, but he killed a little old buck around their deer camp somewhere. So they got theirs. And then Neil Cannon, State Farm Insurance, he killed a nice 8-point with a bow up in Illinois this week.
Man, let's get me excited, Mikey.
Shoot.
Get me excited. I'm ready to get us on the board.
Yeah, so there's several deer killed this week, man. It's on. I was glad to see all them kids get some though. I tried to go through. There were so many. There was, man, you couldn't list all of them, but there was a bunch more on there that I'll try to look at next week and put up speak about them. But it's fun to see them kids get.
I missed out on the youth season.
Yeah,
I'm probably a bad dad.
That's my last youth sitting over there.
Yeah, so you at Will's done aged out. Michael, this is the last year he could go youth hunting. But I had a chance to go to the Saints game last weekend. I couldn't turn that down, so I didn't go. I didn't get to take.
He's got one more weekend.
Yeah, he's got one more weekend. I'll probably take him Saturday morning. We'll see how it goes. He's not too just ate up with it yet. But one, it was hot, man. I don't know. You know how warm it would have been Saturday? Been sitting in a deer stand. It'd probably been wet.
Yeah.
And then it was like 90 degrees.
Mosquitoes would have ate you up.
They would have.
Yeah, it was. I was down here cooking this weekend, and it was muggy. It was bad muggy. It wouldn't have been no fun deer hunting in that.
So I didn't. It didn't mind me to have to wait a week.
I know.
We might go set. So I want. My thinking is, I mean, I love getting kids involved and getting them out shooting deer and all that stuff. But you had this as a topic to talk about today. Now, when it comes to before deer season, are you staying off your plots? Or are you? This was our question of the week, isn't it? Or what was it?
Actually the habitat talk.
All right, so let's get into that.
Stay off your hunting property prior to opening of season.
What do y'all think? What's your thoughts on that? Is it important to stay off of it and keep the pressure down before opening season, or are you still going out and checking cameras and stuff like that? Because we got that dilemma now. I want to go get that card so bad, but I don't want to go back in there. I want to keep it.
Go get the card.
Don't even worry about it.
It don't matter. The thing about it is, this is my theory on it. We've been on it all year.
Yeah.
We get off of it for a month beforehand. Guess what? We're going to be back on it in 3 weeks. You don't think that's going to be like going from, hey, there's nobody on the property. Oh crap! Like, yeah, you're changing the routine that you've been on it all year anyway. In my opinion.
So what I've said, there's been some studies on this, and the ones that I've said I thought was really interesting. It was like, I know these were on collared deer, and I don't know if collared deer behave the same. They should. I mean, they're still wild. They just trapped them, put a collar on them. But they've noticed, like, when they get collared deer and say they show up to a stand location, a scrape, or wherever they got a camera to get a picture of them, there's been some humans in there. There's been some sin in there. If that deer shows up, he's not coming back for 5 days. He ain't coming back. I mean, they say sometimes you'll see them peak around that 3rd or 4th day. They may come back, but more than likely it's going to be 5 days before that deer comes back through there once that scent's been.
My thing is, if you're in a routine, if you've been on the property 11 months out of the year,
yeah,
what's going off the property 1 month when you're going to be back on it next month?
I don't know, but to me it seems like these deer know when pressure picks up around hunting season. It's like, we know, they in March or May, they don't care if they see us. They'll stand there and look at you. But now when you go in there, man, you're going to.
And you got to think too. Most of the time, if say you're down here on the tractor, it's usually on 1, 2, maybe 3 people on the entire place. Well, opening weekend,
there's
you're liable to have 4 or 5.
Yeah.
You know, so
and y'all are on the tractors down here. The deer don't seem to be as scared of the tractor
because it's a deer
as they are side by side, though. Have y'all noticed that?
Well, see that, yes, because that's.
What do you think that is?
Well, that's a piece of farm equipment that they're used to being around, and it doesn't pose no threat to them. Mm-hmm. And this is a theory. This is not any proven fact, but I know, like down here, it's kind of proven. Is when me and Will are down here in the summertime stuff, we're doing stuff on the farm. I can ride almost right up on. Now they ain't gonna let me get much closer than about 50 yards to 40 yards at best before they get up and just move off. But usually they don't just run. They just kind of mosey on off and stand in the thicket. And a lot of times if I pass a field, because we got broken up plots all through the woods and stuff. So if we go in the back and work and I pass that field and those deer are standing in there, if I ride by in the tractor and they're 100 yards away, they don't run. Now, if they're real close to me, they'll kind of mosey up in the thicket, but I'll come back through and the deer will still be standing. I've bush hogged like the roads and stuff before, been running the bush hog, and they were standing in the field eating and
never flinched a muscle. I don't know what it is. Maybe John Deere needs to make a deer stand.
But you around
big green deer stand.
But around here though, I mean, you got the cattle farm that's close. They got a lot of cattle farms around us and stuff.
Yeah.
So they're used to seeing a tractor in the field cutting hay or feeding cows or something like that. So I think they
just don't associate
that with any kind of like danger. They don't want to be close to it, but they don't associate it. Now you pull up, you pass that field with that side by side, the whole field leaves.
Yeah. I have had them stand out there if you're just steady moving. They'll look at you real hard. It might not break, but if you stop, they run every time. Every time. So I've got to where I just try to keep cruising because I don't want to run them off.
Yeah.
I'd rather
stand out there and eat. Sense. Like, use your property.
Yeah.
But don't do nothing dumb. Like, hey, let's go for a joyride at 9 o'clock at night for 2 hours. Yeah,
riding around everywhere you think you're going to hunt.
Yeah. But, I mean.
See, I don't like checking the cameras now either, though.
I mean, that is the nice thing about having cell cam trails cams.
Because
they send it to your phone and you don't have to go out there physically. But
if you got them utilizing that area and they're coming in and out, because when we put a camera out, usually you might get a deer or two here or there, but then you kind of start seeing more deer, more frequent stuff like that. So, if you go up and check it, you're leaving scent, and that might be the time that the big boy that you're hunting walks up there and whoop, no, I'm gone.
I ain't going there. Yeah. I still want to go get that card though.
So last night be a prime example. We put that stand up at the house. We were all over that food plot. Had my mower out there, like cutting little trees down, like making all kind of racket. Within 30 minutes of us leaving that field, it was deer from that moment on till right now. They ain't left it.
But that's on a 3-acre plot. That ain't on a 300-acre plot.
Yeah.
Do it on a 300-acre one and see what happens.
Well, what I've noticed is they're curious animals. So you went in there cutting, you probably mowed a bunch of fresh stuff down. A lot of times them deer are going to come check it out. I've put cameras out and within 30 minutes get some stuff on it. But I've also went back in and had to replace batteries and them joggers not show back up for a while.
Because the thing about it is, in my opinion, when opening day hits, you're going to be in and out of there every day. Yeah. So you don't tell me they don't know, hey, there wasn't been nobody here for the last 30 days. All of a sudden it's busy.
Well, part of that article that I was reading talked about that. It was should you hunt the same stand multiple days in a row? Because if you've seen that buck out of that stand, chances are he ain't coming back in the next few days. So it does, and I guess so that what they were saying was it's better to have, if you got a target buck you're going to hunt, you only go in there, limit the pressure going in, don't go in all the time. Only go in on the right wind. And if you go in and see him and don't get to kill him, you might as well wait till the next perfect time. Don't go right back. How do y'all feel about that?
That depends on the time of the year because, like we were just talking about, like during the summertime and stuff like that, those deer ain't moving around very much. So they're used to seeing us in and out, in and out, in and out. And then you come to like wintertime where you got more deer kind of moving through your property and they're traveling a little bit. Ruts on and stuff like that, if they start seeing us then, you might blow them out and them not come back again. But, like you was saying, if they're not in those plots all the time, then you're not really messing them up. But if they're like, that's their main feeding plot, and like a buck, like you're talking about a buck coming back, I think late in the season we've seen bucks come in and out when they're on a feeding pattern.
Yeah. You can pattern feed.
You can pattern them. Early season you can see that, but kind of that mid part of the season once the rut starts and stuff like that. No, I mean you're probably if you hunt this stand today and you've seen a buck, they're probably right about that. I would think so, but if they're on feeding patterns, if that deer's feeding in that field and he feels comfortable feeding in that field, especially after the rut's over and he's trying to build himself back up, I think he'll come back the next day.
Well,
I don't think he'll come back multiple days in a row, but
a big part of my thinking is on it, like, man, we ain't got that many stands to hunt. So I'm going to have to hunt the same ones sometimes, so depending on what kind of property you're hunting, that might not apply, but during the rut, you could be in any stand and see a buck. So I don't know if that case,
how many people have you heard of that has one out, and this is going to narrow the options down, but has one out on a Friday morning, shot at the buck, missed it, went back Saturday morning, killed it.
I've heard of it happen.
I mean, Trent done it with his this year.
Yeah, I've heard of it happen.
So, I mean, it's up to the deer. It ain't up to us. Mm-hmm. He got a mind of his own. If he wants to be there, he'll be there. And if he don't, guess what? You ain't going to see him.
And if you ain't there, you ain't going to see him. So it goes back to that. So basically what you want to say is just get out there.
Do what the heck you want to do.
Get out there and hunt. Yeah.
If you want to go check that camera, go check it. If you don't. It don't matter.
You want to shoot that little buck, shoot him.
Yeah. It's your hunting season. Ain't nobody else's.
That's right. I may shoot me a little one this year. I don't know. I got to shoot some.
Door. Don't open that door.
Don't open that door. All right. We got invited to a couple different places. I can shoot me a little one there.
All right. So main topic today, deciding where we're hunting opening weekend. What are you taking into account to make that decision? It don't necessarily have to be this property either.
Yeah. I'm going to win, number one. If it's the stands that I want to hunt, if we got a south wind or anything like that, I can't hunt them. So I like that north and northwest. I hope it's a little cool. But I'll tell you where I'm going. I'm either going to the south trunk, because I love hunting that stand there, especially early season. And I've been seeing some buck activity in there, or I'm probably going to go to Crossroads. I like that stand too. Those are my two most comfortable big man stands.
You deciding off of how comfortable the stand is?
Yeah.
Which one's got the best chair?
Is that bad?
I don't guess. It's your decision.
Yeah. It's my decision. I'm going to be comfortable. If I'm comfortable, I can sit longer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, because
that's a fact.
I don't know. I mean, it's a lot of variables that go into that. Like opening, I'm talking about like opening weekend. I mean, not just every time you go. I mean, because like we were talking about like staying off your property. That was what we were talking about, like opening weekend.
Yeah.
So that weekend when you come and you got people down here.
Where are you going?
So like me, I like this time of the year, early part of the year. Like you said, number one, the wind. If you can't, the wind's wrong. Don't hunt the stand. Don't ever recommend that. And that's going to be my first variable. I'm gonna
Is there days you're not even going to go because of the wind, or are you just going to totally change tactics?
If we don't have like with us, we got a lot of stationary stands that we don't move. So just if the wind was bad, wrong, or something like that, I would probably pick another area and either go sit on the ground somewhere, or I ain't got a climbing stand anymore. But if I had a climbing stand, I would find somewhere that I would like to hunt where the wind was correct.
Is that days you're going to climb, Mark? When the wind is that what's your deal on going to climb?
Man, I'm gonna be the bad hunter. I don't pay no attention to it. Like, I mean, there's been times you had deer blow you out, yeah, but if I want to go hunt somewhere, I'm gonna go hunt there. I mean, and plus, we're in Mississippi. Very seldom. I mean, you'll got a couple of south wind days that just stay south, but wind turns so much around here. Like, we used to hunt up there by the house. You can sit there in one stand, you'll have all four directions of wind one day.
One day, yeah.
So what are you gonna do? I like hunting. I like right now early season when it ain't just bitterly cold. When it's cool but it ain't cold, to go sit in a climbing stand and just enjoy it. Matter of fact, I got to go out there and get mine out of the shop now. But it's I don't know. Like, I'm not mad at them, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I could see that. Like, you probably want to get on a ladder early season, get in the woods instead of being on a field. Just because we know they're still eating acorns. So.
Well, see, and that's why I hang some of the ladder stands here and, at home and, some of the other places that I hunt is, we'll put those ladders up just for like south wind stands or southwest stands, or winds and stuff like that, because predominantly, unless you have, which that variable has changed over the years too. I mean, a couple of years ago, we had one of the best opening mornings we ever had. It was just a blanket of white frost out there. It was so cold. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times we don't get that here. It's still kind of warm on opening weekend. So I always kind of keep that in mind when I put those stands up, so I do have choices.
So if we get a frost on opening day, it's always good.
Yep. That's
been 2 years ago, and I remember everybody saw bucks that morning.
And we got north winds, which is where 80% of our stands are hung for, is northwest winds or northeast winds. And, so if we got those north winds, we're all going to see deer because the wind's correct.
Most time open morning, I'm asking everybody else where they're going. I'll just go where they ain't. Yeah. Closest to the house to start breakfast.
You gonna be on breakfast duty?
Maybe. So I don't know.
Are you going to Indiana?
Yeah, I may not even be here opening weekend. So
I don't know which one I'll be. I've got 2 that I'd like to go to. Now, it depends on Michael wants me to go with him. I'll definitely go with him wherever he wants to go.
You gonna sit with him again this year?
I will. I mean, I hadn't been sitting with him a lot, but I like to.
You ain't got many years left.
Yeah, that's right.
Will over here hated me sitting with him the last couple of years. he did not want me in the.
He talked too much, Will.
Yeah, I don't like talking in the mornings.
I'm sitting over there. I'm wound up. It's opening morning. I'm wound up. He's still half asleep, so I'm gigging him and messing with him, and trying to get him to talk and laugh, and he ain't having it, man. He want me to get out.
I think that's why Michael wants me to go with him, because he knows in the morning, especially in the mornings, if I can get him up, he's going to sleep, and I'll wake him up if I see something.
Yeah.
So he can get him some extra hours.
He's too big to be waking up now. I've told Will that a bunch. If you go to sleep,
he don't went to snoring.
Waking you up.
He don't went to snoring, and so I can't take that. You go sit there and rattle the blind.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll.
That grunt call. that grunt call don't work too good.
No, there's. I don't know. It's a hard decision to make for me sometimes. Especially if you're trying to kill a deer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you just don't care, it don't matter. But if you're really trying to kill a deer or hunt a certain deer or something like that, you need to take some of those variables into account.
Well, I'm definitely going to shoot a doe opening weekend.
Definitely shooting a doe opening weekend.
Opening weekend. I want some fresh meat.
Putting her in the freezer.
Yep. We're going to hang her for a little bit, and we're going to have some fresh meat. And I may, because it's primitive weapon doe only, private land too, so I may pop one. If I take Michael youth weekend, I'll take those smoke pole and
that's right.
Shoot one. So we'll see how that goes.
I'm probably going to pluck one off of them does at the house for sure.
You definitely
That's
need to.
That's easy give me.
Well, we thought we've been getting the doe numbers under control. We have seen so many does this year on camera. It's like we have just, Mississippi is exploding with deer population.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
into that 40 a year thing, but
yeah,
I don't think we need to take it that drastic.
No, but it needs to be. You need to take 12. We need at least 12.
To find somebody to take some too, because after I get so many, I don't need any more. I know y'all don't either, so need to find somebody that wants some guts and all. Yeah. if I break it down,
where do you find that, Mikey? Where do you find that? Somebody that just needs a deer that's going to come get it and clean it and everything.
We, that one year we was doing, a lot of that doe killing. We called a friend of ours, Chuck Cole, and Chuck had some people that he kind of knew.
Families that needed it.
It was some families that needed it. And they come got them. I had one guy come get 2 or 3 deer, and he
no questions asked. Just come get
he pulled up there, and I told him, I said, man, the guts are in the thing. We just killed it, but we didn't field dress it because we're right here. We backed right up in the field and got it, so we didn't want to leave the guts in the field. But and he said, I don't matter, I'll get them, and he pulled up and got them. But they said that there's a meat processing place over here that'll take them.
You can donate them.
You can donate them, and they'll, kind of feed the needy or something like that they got going on. I'm going to look into that and see, because that's going to be a pretty big asset for us if we go to, having to do a bunch of doe killing. We can make that decision through the season as we start seeing bigger groups of does or a lot of does in the plots at one time. How many we really need to take. Because, we don't really take that. We don't make that decision early in the season. We kind of got an idea, but, once we start getting in the stands and you're seeing 10 or 15 does and Will's seeing, Mark's seeing, that same amount of does, and we're in multiple different stands, hey, we usually come back, put our heads together like, hey, man, we need to do something.
Yeah, too many mouths.
We got way too many out here.
I'm probably shooting young ones, too.
You shooting the young ones?
We'll gamble. Make sure they ain't got no nubs.
Is that what you said last week? You were shooting little ones?
They taste so
good. Or the big
good
ones? You going off that theory, don't shoot the big does?
Don't shoot the big ones. That's my breeder babies. I'm going to shoot them little young tenders.
I'm popping that big ear doe.
You going to shoot that big one? Man, that's my baby
like
factory.
A mule, yeah.
She's got 3 with her. Don't kill her.
3?
I don't know how many fawns she has.
Oh, you seen one with 3?
Yeah. I've seen multiple that's got 3 this year.
Well, yeah. I'll just shoot the big one and get the 3 in the same lick. That ain't legal, is it?
I don't think so, Mike.
How many can you kill in a day?
I think it's 1 a day.
Is it 1 a day?
I think you can kill a doe and a buck a day. I don't know. You might can kill all 10 of your does at one day. They did change that rule. I'm not up on that.
I'm about to look at that, because
that's a question for.
I don't like that 1 doe a day junk. I like to clip off 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening.
Get them all.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and get them out of the way. So, question of the week. We talked about a little bit of safety. We talked about some deer stand and stuff like that. Have you ever fallen out of a deer stand?
Have I?
Any of us?
Hell yeah, I have. It ain't good either. So I got a good one. I got one. Well, one, I'll tell the scary one first. And it wasn't in fact, it's the stand that you just took to your house.
I almost fell out of it last night.
Yeah, we called it mud hole. Did you? Well, it would have had the first set of steps we ever put on one. They really weren't steps. It was more like a tilted ladder. You kind of climb up. And they've been on it a couple of years. And this is why it's really important for stand safety to check your stands, check the legs, check the steps, check everything. Make sure the straps are still tight. Because I had sitting Michael up ahead of me. This happened, 3 years ago maybe?
3 or 4 years.
3 or 4 years ago. I'd sent him up the stand. He was up in it, this stand was not real high.
About 5.
So it don't take
4 or 5 foot off the ground.
It don't. There's
to the bottom.
base.
You could stand up, open
6
the door,
foot.
and see in the stand.
Yeah. So it's about 5 something foot. So that's not very high. It's probably 5 or 6 rungs on a ladder. Well, I was standing on them, all my weight on them. I'd done been up on like the 3rd or 4th rung, about to get in the stand. And the nails pulled through on one of them steps. And I had my boots on. I done passed my gun to Michael. Well, I fell through the rung and it twisted my leg up on the other rung and I was kicked over. And I'd put myself in a figure 4 damn leg lock. I was hung up and I could not move. I couldn't get the weight off of it. Michael's still up in the stand. And all I could do was hold on to the frame. And it took everything I could. I just couldn't pull up to get the weight off. And I was like, son, you're going to have to jump. I mean, you can't get down by me. I got to have some help. I'm caught. If I let go, I'm finna break my legs. Because the way I was caught, it was just going to pin over, and it was bad. And luckily, he had a phone because I couldn't let go to get to my phone. And my wife was up at the house at camp. And we called her and was like, look, you got to come down the hill. You'll see us. You'll be hollering. She come tearing down through there in the side by side.
Oh, she was on the golf cart.
No, she's on the golf cart. That's right. She was. She bailed off in there and got right up to the stand. And she's like, what can I do? And I said, I don't know. You got to try to brace I'm going to let go. You're going to try to guide me to where I can not hurt myself. And she did. And I just fell down. I let go and it didn't break. I mean, luckily my leg didn't break. My leg was still hung up. She had to help me untangle it. And I was turned completely upside down. If I'd have been by myself, I just had to hang. I mean, that was pretty scary to me, but luckily I didn't get hurt too bad. But the other time I was hunting, I want to say it was in Kosciuszko, Mississippi, and we were hunting on a big power line. They'd put me out there, and it had an old extension ladder, just a slide up extension ladder. Yeah, extension ladder. So I was like, he said it's safe just going up it. I was like, oh, I'm a big guy, but I go on up it, and it's just like Christmas Vacation. When Uncle Clark Griswold gets up to the top on his house, next thing I know, I'm sitting at the bottom on the ground, still holding the ladder. I done fell all the way down, and I'm sitting there looking, and I was like, "Oh hell no!" And if I'd have had that on video, it'd have been the funniest thing because it didn't hurt me. I was just back on the ground. I done slipped all the way down on that ladder, and it just slid all the way. There I go, and I'm on the ground standing there. So I didn't look. I just left that ladder up to the side.
Did you hear the latch kick?
I didn't hear nothing.
On Christmas Vacation, it goes clink.
I slid all the way down, but I sit on the ground the rest of the night. They come pick me up. They was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I ain't getting up in there. That ladder ain't right." That was a funny one though. What about y'all? Have y'all ever had one you fell?
I fell with a ladder stand while we were putting it up. Nothing into the world.
That's probably the most dangerous time when you're messing with one of those.
The freaking ladder stand up gets sketchy.
Yeah.
Which the new ones, they got them straps on it now that I don't know why we didn't think of it 20 years ago, but it does make it a little safer. But I didn't get hurt or anything like that. The worst thing I ever got hurt with the ladder stand was putting one up. And you got the little brace that goes goes back to the tree from the ladder. Well, it was up. And I was getting ready to put it up. Well, I propped it up against the tree, and I'm standing below it getting the ratchet strap ready. And about that time, that sun swung down. And, it'd ping you right between the eyes. It'd make your eyes water. It'd put you on the ground.
Heck yeah.
But
you never fell out?
No, I've been pretty fortunate, knock on wood. So.
What about you?
Fell out twice. One side of a ladder stand. It was like Mark was talking about, it was a metal ladder stand. It was on this old willow tree, and there was a ditch that run right up under the ladder stand. So I had the ladder on one side, and the tree was on, not a big ditch, but it was full of water. anyways, I started up the stand, and I got to almost to the top run of that ladder stand, and my foot slipped on that frosty step. And when it did, it spun me so fast, I couldn't get a hold of the stand fast enough, and I come all the way out of it and fell in that ditch in that water on my back and was soaking ass wet, man. I just got up, got my junk, and just went to the house. Like, no.
Ain't hunting that day.
No, this ain't the day to be.
It didn't hurt you?
No, I hit that water. Yeah. If I hadn't hit that water, I don't know.
How high up was it?
It's like 16-foot ladder.
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay.
But yeah,
that's dangerous.
So my feet were probably 10 foot off the ground when it happened. So yeah, I hit that frosty step, that boot slid out. When it did, I don't know, it threw me off balance. I couldn't get a hold of the stand, which I had it. I was in between, making my grabs.
Yeah.
And when it just happened at the right time. And
hurt your gun?
It was still on the ground. It was still on the ground.
Do y'all pull your guns up when you're climbing ladder stands and climbers?
I used to, but not. A lot of times I'll just put it over my back.
What do you do?
We just go up the tree with it.
You got it strapped on?
I usually, when I had my old man climbing stand, I had a set of like little rubber gun forks, like would go on a foiler rack on the side, and I could put it in it and latch it and not have to hold it.
As you climbed up?
As I climbed. That summit climber I got now, I lay it across in front of me and hold it as I'm climbing, and it sits in the seat and kind of wedges itself, and it's stable. Like, I don't feel uncomfortable whatsoever doing it.
But you don't pull them?
I have. I guess, I'm trying to think what brand stand it used to have. It used to be an old metal stand. Actually, it was Jamie's old one. It was no way to climb that one, hardly, because you had to.
It wasn't a hand climber, was it?
It was a hand climber.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't have a big, it just had a dove stool, like almost like a dove stool on the bottom platform. Then you had just the upper, man. It was so, you put it on your shoulders, but it was kind of sketchy. It wasn't the best idea.
Yeah, those climbing stands, boy, we used to be so ignorant. We used to not wear safety harnesses. Used to not, like I had an old
Never
man.
seen Mark wear one.
I
used to not tie my top to my bottom, my foot to the seat part of it.
What was your thinking on that?
It just didn't
What
have
if
it
it
on
failed?
there.
Oh, well, if you lose that bottom platform, you're screwed.
Yeah, I lost that thing over in Tillatovia, Mississippi one time.
Time to bear
30
hug.
foot up a tree.
Yeah.
And I had my feet on the shooting rail and wasn't even touching the bottom platform, and went to put my foot down and bumped that bottom half, and it took off. There
What
I
do you
was
do
sitting
then?
on that thing 30 foot up in the air and looking down at that. And
just
I was like, I
hanging.
think I can. And I was in pretty good shape then. I doubt I can do it now, but I just kind of let myself down through the stand, holding by my hands, and reached down there and got my foot on that bottom platform and got it back up.
So it didn't go to the ground.
It didn't go to the ground. No, it went down, a few feet below me.
So you were able to kind of finagle it and get it back?
Get down there and hang down and get it and pull myself back up.
Yeah, that's dangerous, man.
Yeah, that's.
You hung in a tree, you ain't got no cell reception, you're just sitting there.
Yeah, we didn't have cell phones back then.
I used to wear a harness. When I first got my first climbing stand, Bart at Oak Tree would not sell it to me. Because Daddy, I think it was, I remember Daddy went up there and got it for me or what, but he was concerned because I was a little bit, which I still ain't big as nothing, but when I was a kid, I was a little bitty squirt, and I didn't weigh enough to really make the stand bite in the tree.
So he thought it wasn't safe to sell
he's
you
like,
one.
man, because I love my old man stand, but they didn't bite the trees hard. You had to be cautious. Like that Summit I got now, it'll climb a steel pole. They don't care.
Yeah.
But the old man, you had to kind of make sure it dug in, and it get on a hard bark tree, it would be slick,
Yeah.
Yeah, them old trees, they were tough to climb with them old man stands. You can get in a sweet gum or a
Pine tree or something
pine
like that,
tree
it'd
or
go.
something like that, be fine. But the more hard, slick bark, especially like old hickory tree or something, good night.
Well, the thing, this is off the subject, but the reason I feel like the old man didn't bite as hard is, it folded flat. So when you took it off the tree, both sides fold down flat. So the stand itself, when it was on your back, it was completely flat. Mm-hmm. Well, like the Summit and all these other climbers, their sides are rigid. They're made onto it. So it would pivot on the tree. So if you didn't have it just perfect, it would scoot
Straighten
over.
itself,
It'd
yeah.
straighten itself up, and it'd catch you off guard every now and then. I still like hunting out a climbing stand, though. It's nothing like it.
That ain't for me. I'm too old, too big.
They keep on with all this saddle stuff. They're going to have more stuff toting in with them ropes than what we do with the climbing stand.
So what's cooking at camp, Malcolm?
Man, I'm still thinking about that. What did they Chandler call that? The French dip?
Yep.
It was the easy way to do a crock pot French dip sandwich. And I'm telling y'all, if you got to cook something if you're going hunting, you can get up, throw those in a skillet and brown your chuck roast. Just get it brown on all sides. Put that crock pot on. You can put it on low. You can put it on high if you need it fast, but I'd put it on low and let it go about 8 hours and hunt that evening. And then it don't need but some beef broth, a little bit of salt, pepper, and garlic. You can throw some onions. I think he put a jar of like peppers and stuff in it, like pepperoncini peppers.
Yeah.
And just let it roll all day. And then at the end of the day, when we got back from hunting, he just took 2 forks and shredded it up. So it was kind of like pulled beef done French dip style because it had a lot of liquid in there. So when you made your sandwich, you could come back and you could either ladle it or you could take tongs and dunk your whole sandwich, put some provolone or sliced mozzarella cheese on it. Dude, that's some fire eating right there,
good.
man.
It was really good.
We got to do those. We need to do that recipe. It's really simple. It just takes time to cook that chuck roast down. And it's different. Like a regular French dip would usually be with like a top round or bottom round roast or something.
Yeah.
And they would cook it rare and slice it thin and pile it up kind of like roast beef like that. But I like this one because it was super tender and the flavors of it was phenomenal because you got all that braising that happened. Rendered fat broke down. All that goodness is in that crock pot. You could do it on smoker. It would do the same thing. But a crock pot makes it easy because you can throw it on there before you go get in the stand, let it cook all day. By lunch, it's going to be smelling good. We were smelling it about midways.
Oh, yeah.
You knew something was happening, and then that night when you got there eating it, man, it was fire.
Yeah, I got all excited last night. We had a good buddy of mine, his dad had went on a trip and harvested a whitetail and I think axis deer maybe. I can't remember what it was, and brought it back. And he's like, man, if y'all help me process it, take some of it. I was like, heck yeah. You give me some deer meat early, get me some axis. Well, the guy at the place, nobody we know, some acquaintance that was at the place that was, I guess, quartering the deer up for the guest. He quartered it up all right, left poop chute, left everything, left gut, left everything attached, put it in the cooler on ice.
Just threw it in the cooler. So when it made its way back to good old Mississippi, I opened the cooler, helped the guy process a deer, and it looked like you had been a horse took a dump on top of that cooler with water.
Oh, man.
So pretty much we always talk about taking care of your own meat and why we process our own meat and why we do stuff. That is the exact reason.
That's going to get, you talk about giving game a bad flavor or whatever. People saying it's gamey or wild. That right there.
Wasn't wild.
Because it wasn't taken care of right.
No, not at all. And I was highly disappointed that anybody would do that to a customer's, product.
Because I wouldn't want to eat it. Would y'all?
No. I filleted out
the whole thing's contaminated.
I filleted out the hindquarter or broke the hindquarter down and got that big rump roast out of it, and it smelled like you walked into a horse stall. Like it's terrible.
The water wouldn't get it off. I don't know. I don't know the right procedure about if that was salvageable or if not, but I know it's contaminated because you're supposed to, first off, do everything you can not to
keep it clean.
Yeah, not to open the guts up, not to get that meat exposed, even to the urine in an animal. You don't want to get that on.
The piss sack was still in it. Everything was still on the
You want
hindquarter.
to get all that washed off as clean as possible, as fast as possible. You definitely don't want to store it and travel with it like that.
He's like, what do you want to do? I said, I'll do whatever you want to do. I said, but I want none of it. I said, you do what you want to with it.
Man, did he take it?
I broke down a couple of hindquarters and got them cleaned up. And then the rest of it, we were just going to let the guy, if you do what you want to, because we were just doing a favor. We were just helping somebody out, needed a little bit of help. And it's a bad ordeal. I was highly disappointed. There was somebody out there that says they take pride in what they do, and to let something go like that was pretty shady. But there's people out there that do it all the time.
Oh, yeah. So when y'all gut shot one, what's your thinking on that? Just get it rinsed out fast
Get the guts out of it quick as you can.
Quick as you can. It's all you can do. And that meat's, I've never had a problem with that.
Well,
there's areas that look like, now I have seen areas where you can shoot them in the guts and it blow it all up in the meat.
Yeah. Now, if you got that situation, you might want to go ahead and just dress it out.
Well, you can dress it out and rinse it right then.
Yeah.
This had been sitting in a cooler for 4 days.
It's been marinating in it. Like he's brought it from Texas to Mississippi or whatever. It was done right. I mean, legally, that's how you can bring it across state lines. You got to quarter it up like that. But you got to go that step further and clean it up. You know? And if he'd have took, I mean, that would have took no time. It was already on skinning rack, I'm betting.
Yeah. Well,
He
I mean,
hit
just
the water
properly,
hose with it and then trimmed out what he needed to go.
just dress the deer like you're supposed to dress it. There's no issues, you know? Oh, it sucked, but I was hoping I'd add to the recipes, but I'm not going to add to it with that one.
Well, that's going to do it for today, ain't it, fellas?
That's it.
I think we're one step closer. Next week, we'll be talking about opening weekend coming.
As years went by.
It
Quick.
has. We're about real fast. It ain't long. It's deer season now. So we're going to hopefully get some meat in the freezer and have some good times this season and take y'all along with us.
I'm going to go out here and cut the walk-in down to about 37, you think?
Yes, where it needs to be to hold them.
Right now it's 20, and it's cold as crap in there.
It's freezing.
Yeah.
Well, take us on out of here, somebody.
Will, you want to do the honors today?
No, I'm good.
No, we appreciate y'all listening. Y'all check us out on Facebook and everything, and post the pictures, man. Keep them coming. You know, show us your kills, what you got on your property. Hey, we're always interested in that. And we got any other contests coming up?
We'll have another one coming up next podcast.
Yeah, we'll definitely will. We'll have something to start up. We're going to keep them going.
Well, that's it. We finna do a little bit of work and get ready for opening day. We'll see y'all next time.
We gone.